is your professional origin story and what did you do before Low Word?
Gosh, what is my professional origin story? So it's not a straight path, I would say. I've had a few lives, but I guess one of the origins would be in university. So I studied languages at university, but I was very involved in the Theatre Society at the time, and I got to direct a little bit and produce a little bit, and I always loved doing that. But then I sort of departed from Theatreland after graduation and did corporate life, various different jobs, different industries, and then came back in the last couple of years, started training as an actor, and then one thing led to another, and here we are.
Nice. How does your background in translation and languages influence the company?
Yeah, well, so it is a company focused on translated scripts, so I suppose wouldn't have happened without that. It influences the kind of work that I want to do, and I guess honestly, what happened was we found the script for this show first, and it started out not even necessarily intending to put it on, but I found the script in Spanish when I was researching Latin American plays and loved it, wanted to show it to my theatre friends who didn't speak Spanish. I was like, well, I'll have to translate it for them. And then after I'd done that, one of them said, why don't you put it on? And I said, that seemed a bit far-fetched, a bit much. And she was like, why not? And I didn't have an answer. So ended up putting it on, and now we're hoping to put on more.
And was there one specific moment? Was that the moment you decided to launch your own company, when your friends said, just go and do it?
It was a bit after that. So I was then looking for options for venues and dates, and I thought we might give ourselves a good 6-month run-up. And then this chance came up with the Etcetera at their Women's Writers Festival, and it was kind of an unmissable opportunity. So 6 months became 2, and kind of said to myself, well, if we're going to do this if it's going to be over by March, then what am I going to do with the rest of the year? So start a company, it gives us the runway to then do more after Unloving.
Do you have any professional training within the creative industry at all?
Other than, mainly as an actor, so I trained with City Academy and been in some shows with them and done different workshops and short courses around London. And I did do a short sort of director's course last year just to check if there was anything obvious I was missing, but not really. We are learning as we go.
And have any of those courses sort of set you up for how to actually run a business, or not so much?
No, none of those have been business management specific.
So what was the hardest part of getting your company off the ground, other than the fact that you only took 2 months to do it?
I think just convincing myself that it was okay to do it. That sounds like a cop-out answer, but once you've done it and you're online on social media, it's well, it's real now, so we just have to make it a thing. And it kind of, the to-do list, never stops growing, but you get through it, and each day it grows, and you're like, well, yeah, it's happening now, and the tickets are on sale, and we got a cast, and so the longest bit, I took a full week to decide after I got the contract from the theatre to then actually sign it and say, okay, this is happening. And that week, I wasn't really doing much except battling with myself in my head. So that was the hard bit.
In your experience, is it more difficult starting a theatre company or directing or acting in a play?
Ooh. Starting a theatre company, yeah. Having just said that. It does take a lot of hours and things that you don't know you need to think about until you're doing it. And there's so many different aspects to running any business, and you learn what your strengths are as you go, and your weaknesses. And I've discovered some things that's well, I'd rather not do this part next time if I can find someone to help me. So yeah,
I think you also figure out how to prioritize certain things over others.
Absolutely,
because like you said, your to-do list never finishes.
Yeah.
So you've got to figure out a way to get the most out of everything.
Yeah.
By doing not as little as possible, but it is that. Because
it is, yeah. Prioritizing, yeah, and just the ability to make decisions more quickly and trust your judgment on things where you're we don't have time to think about this for a week. Yeah.
What's the biggest hidden cost of running a theatre company?
I guess time. like it's probably not very hidden. Probably anyone can guess that it takes a lot of like long hours and stuff. But as with anything, like it's time you don't get back. But we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't love it. So it feels like time well spent so far. I won't speak for you. Yeah.
You want to push the boundaries with the stuff that you're making, and you want to bring new translations of different works over here, which hasn't necessarily been done before.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a certain amount of chance with theatre venues and the money that you put behind it that potentially you won't get the audiences. So how do you sort of balance, I'm going to put this amount of money in and hopefully get this experience or this like break even, or what's the goal?
So I'd say two parts to that one. Firstly, Unloving as a script lends itself really well to like minimalist style of staging and directing and all of that, and to Fringe theatre as well. Like it's a two-hander, the set is very flexible. So in terms of the artistic, I guess, workload, it's very adaptable, which helps. Also, the credit to the Etcetera, they offered us a chance, without asking many questions. So that was very fortunate, and we're looking forward to hopefully building on that, maybe working with them again or taking it somewhere else. We'll see. But for me personally, sort of from a producing angle, in terms of the finances and stuff, I went into it with the mindset of like knowing everything that I've paid for the acting training I've done the last couple of years, and it's not cheap, especially in London. I kind of said to myself, if I can pay like similar to what I've paid for those other things where like I've had a great time and learned stuff, but like actually for something that's my own, then that's a great deal for me in terms of return on investment as an experience. So
how do the rights work if you're pulling a foreign piece?
Yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and it's not one single answer, but I was in touch with the writer early days, and Laura, she's lovely and has been super supportive of the whole process. We've been talking since September last year, and basically she and I have an agreement that I've got the rights to put this on, and as a translation, it becomes a new piece in itself. So we have, for the purposes of this show, like we share rights, but after we're done here, we want to talk about submitting the script elsewhere for other English like competitions or publishing and that sort of thing, and we're going to work that out as we go.
What drew you to translating the script, and tell us a little bit about what Unloving is about?
Yes. What is Unloving about? No, well, I'll start with the other one. What drew me to the script, so I mentioned I was researching Latin American plays generally. So I lived in Latin America when I was a student of Spanish and never really touched the theatre scene while I was there. So it kind of occurred to me after getting more involved that I hadn't merged those two parts of my life. So I was like, I want to see what's out there. And found this great library from an Argentine drama school, and Unloving was in there in the pile. But it stood out for the sort of abstract nature of it. It's a very original style of storytelling, I think, and it's a really relatable story. Like, although it's a Bolivian play, and we've somehow sometimes marketed it as a play that's come all the way from Bolivia, you wouldn't necessarily tell from watching it. There's no need to speak Spanish or understand anything about Bolivian culture. The story itself is universal. Yeah. So that was another thing where it's nice that we can show people something from the other side of the world that's every bit as relatable to us here in London as a story from here. And then what is it about?
Do you want to take that one?
Well, without spoilers, I think to me Unloving is about two people trying to get closer together as they explore two other people moving further apart.
That's a great one.
So deep.
Yeah. Can I quote you on that?
What's the rough budget for this show, and is it self-funded, or did you get some funding from Etcetera, from the Women's Theatre Festival? How did it work?
Yeah, so the budget roughly is under $2,000, and
that's bloody impressive.
Is it? Okay. I have no idea. Some of that is support from the Arts Council, which went direct to Etcetera. So that allowed them to give us like venue space and tech support, which has been invaluable. And then yes, the rest has been privately funded, self-funded.
How did you recruit your lovely cast?
Well, Daniel here, I met at an acting workshop last year, and he did a fantastic monologue, and I actually followed you out of the room. I think you were trying to leave.
Yeah.
And I cornered you on the street and said, I'm casting something, let's stay in touch. And Hannah, I've known for a long time. We went to school together, but we never worked together as creatives before. She is very successful in her own right as a performing artist, and so it was just really nice to find a reason to be able to work together for this.
How long have you spent rehearsing? Is the opening day today? And where have you rehearsed?
It's been a whirlwind couple of weeks. So the funny thing is that as of right now, on a Friday morning, it's less than 2 weeks since Daniel has been fully in the cast.
Wow.
So we've done, and the schedule-wise, it was like about 4 days. 4 days of rehearsal over the last 2 weeks.
Oh, is that 4 days? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That is very important. How did you learn everything in 2 weeks?
Support and repetition and hiding lines in my jacket or during my workplace or whenever I could, really.
And where have you been rehearsing?
We've split our time between studios in Bermondsey and Dalston.
Where did you go to drama school or train or do any of that?
I went to drama school in Toronto, Canada, at the Toronto Metropolitan University. That was a 4-year program. And then after that, I was lucky enough to do, there's a place called the Stratford Festival. It's a large regional theatre there. And they run their own school called the Birmingham Conservatory. And I did another 2 years there, but that's a paid program. So they kind of paid to train me, which was
amazing.
Invaluable.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then what brought you over to London?
The possibilities. I think the top here is very interesting and kind of the amount of things that you can do. So it's not that I was looking for a fresh start, but I wanted to kind of expand my horizons. So yeah.
So a bigger art scene in here than Toronto? Or
both different and bigger. So yeah, different and bigger.
And did any of your training throughout that 6 years teach you how to survive as a freelancer or an actor?
Well, as was kind of alluded to, I was approached to do this project in December, but for reasons I couldn't start until 2 weeks ago. So I think my training taught me how to kind of text analyze and access the script fast. So that part was done by my training. But in terms of being a freelancer, no, I think the training is more focused on kind of doing the acting, but less successful in teaching you what to do when you're not acting, which is a lot of what the actor's life is.
How easy are you finding playing your character and acting out sort of a breakup?
I think I'm finding it easy because the writing is so good. I think the more I look at the script, the more I go, oh, there's moments of that in me or moments of my past partners in that. So it's almost like the script is reflecting back onto me what we all have experienced in some way at some point.
And how close to the original is it?
It's pretty close, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of, there was one, I don't think this is a spoiler. There's one niggle in the translation I remember where I went back and forth with Laura a bit. There's, as with any translation, there's a few idiomatic expressions or metaphors that you will have to change when you translate them because they don't work in English. But there was one in one of your lines where your character says something about a pillow being thrown. And I translated it as a pillow because I read the sentence and I was like, yeah, he's talking about a pillow. And Laura came back to me and said, no, that's a mattress. I was like, oh, this man is throwing a mattress? How does you even do that? And she was like, yeah, no, that's the point. He's throwing a mattress. I was like, okay, if you're sure. So that was one where like it took a while for that to come out in the wash. But yeah, otherwise it's basically as close as it can be.
How are you finding working with Etcetera, both of you?
Good, yeah. They've been actually incredibly responsive the whole time. It's been very like quick and easy, I would say, overall, which like not everybody has that experience. But from the word go, when I first contacted them to say, would you consider this show? It was like that afternoon the contract was in my inbox. So it's kind of like
That's
that with
amazing.
them, I think. Yeah. In general, I get that impression. They're just like, they want to get as many shows on as they can. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, Etcetera, I haven't yet played in the space. I haven't done the show yet, but seeing it that is kind of what I've come to London for. I think a lot of theaters elsewhere is regional theaters outside of a city, whereas though this is just above a pub and it's in the community, and that's something I think is actually really kind of special here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you face being a creative freelancer in London?
I'm not sure I would have identified as a freelancer before you sent me those questions. I was like, oh, that's me. And also, I mean, I've not yet sort of left my corporate life behind entirely, so I feel like I'm on the edge of the cliff, like looking out, being like, I want to be there, but haven't made the leap yet. So
you working part-time? Or?
Yeah. And that's, I'm still in the safety net, but no complaints so far. I mean, ignorance is bliss, right? It's early days. So.
That's fine.
And how are you finding being a freelancer in London from Canada?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That must be pretty complicated.
Well, similarly, so I never really attached myself to the word freelancer, but I think that it's true. I think so much of it is what I hearkened earlier, that it's really how you spend your time when you're not doing a show is really the hard part. Is when someone generously asks you to be part of something, that's when it's easy. But when you're balancing the work life and not doing anything, then you're having to kind of just follow your interests. I think that's it. Following my interests in a city this big, that's kind of the key, and just trusting that something will come from following that.
Yeah.
And do you have another job on the side, or is it?
Yes, I currently work as a concierge at a hotel in Soho. Yeah.
Do you have any other projects on the go?
I'm going actually back to Canada to do a show with Drayton Theatre, an Agatha Christie play, and then there were none.
Oh, it's a good no spoilers.
All right, yeah.
How do you stay organised with your life admin and sort of taxes and accounts and things, all the boring stuff in between gigs?
I live and die by Google Calendar.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Post-it notes everywhere. On my body parts, on my notebooks, on all surfaces in my home.
I do Post-its.
Yeah.
Have a good accountant who understands, I think, the artist's struggle, the artist's life, and kind of nudges you, maybe, at least for me, who's not necessarily the most, not money savvy, but numeric savvy, who can nudge you in the right direction, I think has been also crucial for me.
I think that's key as well, because accountants will always save you money.
Yeah.
They will always find stuff in your bag of receipts that actually, you can tax deduct that as well.
If they're good, yeah.
Bless them.
And we'll start with Miriam, what is your one piece of advice for starting out in this industry?
Just don't think about it too much. Just do it. Make it happen, and then it's real. And then once it's real, you've done it. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have any advice for budding actors starting out?
I think two things. Understand that every piece of advice is just advice from the past, but the world is changing constantly, so what you experience and the advice people give you is two different things. And also to understand the difference between an artistic pursuit and a business pursuit. So if you're doing something via social media or something to help yourself grow career-wise, that's great, but that is a different thing than focusing on your craft and learning how to grow internally as an actor, and to just understand those two and when you're doing one and the other. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously you're performing today. Today is Friday the 13th of March, but when else are you performing here?
Yes, we'll be on again on Monday the 30th of March at 7 o'clock, and that is our one and only evening show.
That is selling out fast.
That is selling out fast. There's actually 2 tickets left, so
Wow.
get them before they're gone.
And where can we find you on social media?
We're on Instagram at Lone Word Theatre.
Where can we find you on social media?
Instagram, Daniel Krmpotic, Instagram handle.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.